The Oregon Ducks took one on the chin Saturday against Indiana, 30-20 at Autzen Stadium. We're going to break it all down here on the Ducks Confidential podcast. I'm Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian and OregonLive, joined by my main man, George Wrighster of the Unafraid Show and the CW. And George, we met for the first time on Saturday. Wasn't it the greatest moment of your life since your kids being born and your marriage? I mean, it's got to be getting drafted. I'll give you drafted. Sign with Oregon and then me. Like I'm right.
That's the problem, bro. Your bad luck ass was running around, and that's why the Ducks lost. I should have been staying far away from you.
Hey, you can't blame me for that. They won plenty of games with me around. So anyway, here's a picture. I think we got to maybe have it up of me and George and Anthony Newman hanging out, all smiles before the game. And then 3 hours later, those smiles went away. But you know what? Before we get to that, it was an interesting day. Like there's a bunch of alumni there. I bumped into Jeremiah Johnson. I bumped into J.D. Nelson, Matt Evenson, who's a kicker there, Don Pelham, Dino Filia, who I didn't cover, came up to me to say hello and said, I just want to make sure you're not walking around hating. Like what? Me hate? Nah, I ain't like that. I missed out on Gary Campbell though. He was there. I didn't see him, but you saw Gary Campbell.
Yes. Yeah, he was the reason why. Him and Coach Oz are the reasons why I got up to Oregon. I would not be here on Ducks Confidential if it were not for those two men.
You know, Coach Oz was the running backs coach at Portland State when I was there. Small world.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't know
he was on that original staff back in the 80s with Al Borges. You've heard of Al Borges. He was the offensive coordinator. Yep. Anyway, all right. Well, yeah, we got a lot to get to. Let me get to the read first. Today's episode of the Ducks Confidential podcast is brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene, Cascades, and Coast region. Ducks fans can find out more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. All right, so real quick, I'm still getting over being sick. When I got home for that game Saturday night, my stomach just hit me. I was in the bathroom, running from the bed to the bathroom until like 5 a.m. until I finally got out. Dude, it was bad. I finally got out whatever it was. I was trying to figure out if it was something I ate or if it was just that performance I saw by the Ducks on Saturday had me nauseous because, you know, that wasn't very pretty. So let's dive into these three words. I'm going to let you go first. George, what did you think of that?
It was expected.
What?
It was expected.
What was expected? You had it 38-15.
Yeah.
38-17.
No. I did not expect. See, here's the thing about when you predict things about teams is that in the macro, you can see the big picture, right? But in the micro, it's hard to see certain things happening. And in the macro, coming into the season, I expected this team to be a 10-2 team. And then after the Penn State game, I expected the floor to be an 11-1 team. And now I still expect the floor to be an 11-1 team. But the one just happened. Like it was going to happen at some point in time. That's why I say that this was expected. I never at any point in time, and I've been on so many shows with you. And from the beginning of the season, have I ever said that I expected the Ducks to go 12-0 this year?
True.
So this was going to happen at some point in time, and that's why I say the macro, like I could see it, but in the micro, this looked like a game initially that I thought that they would win, but after the game, I'll tell you how I felt after. But like I don't want to interrupt your three words.
Okay, George, no, I'm not going to let that go. First of all, I hear what you're saying on the whole, you know, didn't think they'd go undefeated thing. But you said 38-17. You said Oregon was way too athletic, that they were going to be able to run all over them, that they're going to pass all over them, that they're going to shut them down, that Indiana hasn't seen a front seven, that the right tackle was a fish, was going to get dominated.
True.
So a lot of people say that
happened. Everything that I believed, I still believe after the football game.
Okay.
That if Oregon plays Indiana again, I believe that it'll be a 38-17 game. And when we get to talking, I will explain to you why.
Okay. Fine.
And I will explain to you what was said to the team, what the messaging was around it, and you'll get it.
Okay. You know what? I give you credit, man. It's pretty smooth. Like I can see if you went out too late with the boys and came home and your wife was on you, how you smoothed your way from sleeping on the couch. That was very nice. I'm still not buying it.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. But my 3 words were, what was that? Because they looked like a team that had no answers for their opponent. The offense got destroyed. They scored 13 points, and the one touchdown they scored came on a busted coverage. Defensively, they absolutely weren't horrible, and they got a pick 6 to get them back into the game. But when they needed a stop late, Indiana goes 75 yards. And so for me, my whole thing is, you guys are trying to force me, you and Newman and Ken after the Penn State game, are trying to force me to say that the Ducks were in a national championship window. And my thing was, I needed to see more. I didn't know. You guys bashed me for that. Well, this is what I was talking about. Because right now, you have a team that has 4 meaningless victories. They have a still solid win at Penn State that has been completely destroyed. That team fired its coach. That team lost to UCLA. That team lost to Northwestern. And then you just got, not smoked, but you got beaten pretty handily at home to an Indiana team that supposedly has less talent. So, I expected losses to come as well. I did pick Oregon to win this game, but I think they were exposed in a lot of different areas that we can talk about later. But yeah, for me, what was that? Because I did not expect them to lose like that, to where you walked away going, man, they got beaten, not fluke stuff. They got flat out beaten. All right, the good and the terrible. You go first.
The good was that this is after any Ducks loss. This is the best I've ever felt after any Ducks loss ever. Like that I've ever was a part of in watching the team. Because of a few reasons. Number one, we are in the different era of college football. The idea, and people have to divorce themselves from the idea that you have to go unscathed to have have a great season, or even have a national championship season. That those things are not even close, because people thought that Ohio State was done after the Oregon loss and then after the Michigan loss. They were like, there's no chance they can win. Or that there were all sorts of doubts, like that, yes, this team's super talented, but can they put it together? Is Ryan Day the issue? All of these things. And then they found a way to put it together, because the whole point is that you have to be playing your best football in November and not in October. Well, sorry, excuse me. You have to be playing your best football in December and January and not in October. You just have to find a way to win enough games to get into the tournament. And so the good for me was that I still feel good about this defense. I think that there are some things that need to get cleaned up, which we will talk about. That was the good. I'm sorry. That was the good, is I was like, I still feel good about the team. I still feel good about the defense. And I feel like all of these things are correctable. And like all of the things that were correctable. The bad in the game was Dante Moore was bad in the game. He was bad. A lot of people are blaming the offensive line. The offensive line actually didn't have a terrible day. He was number one, he was poorly prepared. And he, in terms of, like Dan Lanning even said, and this was the messaging. This is how you know the dude is consistent, because the messaging to the team was the same thing that was put out in the media. He felt like that they got outcoached, that their plan was not as good as it needed to be.
Right.
And because when you look at what Indiana did, because I put out a keys to the game and all of that stuff, like how Indiana could win and how Oregon could win. I felt like Oregon had more paths. Indiana executed their path to a T. If you notice, Fernando Mendoza, he played an excellent game. That pick six obviously is ugly, but aside from that was the only awful throw that he made. Actually, it wasn't even an awful throw. It was an amazing defensive play.
It was a bad throw.
No, because it wasn't a bad throw, because the guy would have gotten hit in stride. Like, and that's
you mean the accuracy?
more,
yeah, but
yeah,
he floated it across the field.
Yes,
He
and that's
floated
a
across the
hard
field.
route to guard.
Yeah.
The kid Finney just made an amazing play too.
Right.
And so I thought that they came in with a great game plan, which was RPO, get the ball out super quick, and try to just keep the chains moving, which is what they did, and they were able to. Like the Ducks lost the quarterback a couple times on some read options, and that there should be somebody there for the quarterback. And this is why I said that the plan was bad, because Indiana, what they normally do versus what they did versus Oregon is not what they do. They normally will take shots downfield. They throw the ball over the middle of the field, all of those things. But they knew that the Ducks pass rush, like every time they got in a third and long situation, he ended up on the ground, or it was an incompletion. So they figured out, like, damn, we got to stay out of third and long, and they did a good job of just dinking and dunking and playing outside of the numbers. And they did a good job at it. Like, there's nothing to take away from them. They are a good football team. I still feel like Oregon's a better football team, but we got outcoached.
Okay. So for me, the good, I was isolated on one play. The Finney play was pretty impressive. Man-to-man coverage across the field like that on a deep crossing route is a difficult cover. He was there, accelerated to pick it off. That got him back into the game. The terrible was the passing game was completely out of sync. Like they couldn't. I didn't feel like there were many instances where Dante missed big plays. I mean, I'm sure he missed some guys open here and there, but the whole syncopation between him, the pass protection, and the routes that were being run, they just hardly ever fell together. And
well, because he was going the wrong direction. Is that so the
sliding
way
the protection the wrong direction?
Yeah, so
against sim pressure,
the wrong way, and where his eyes
were going.
Yeah, so people think that quarterbacks are supposed to read the full field. They don't. What they do pre-snap is they're like, okay, here's what I think the coverage is. So based upon this coverage, I'm going to look this way. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then back to this side.
Right.
And then, so yes, you may have a guy running wide open over there, but if everything that he knows says, I need to go this way first, and then he sees a curl wide open, he's going to throw the curl and not throw the deep ball, because that's where the ball was supposed to go based upon the coverage that he believed that it was. So Indiana simulates a lot of pressure, and not every time, but the majority of the time, wherever he thought the pressure was coming from, it actually was coming from the other way. So they were not. So the protection is going the wrong way, and his eyes are going the wrong way. There were people. I watched the film. There were people open. He's going the wrong way, and he also was like, he double clutched a couple throws. Like, even when there was no pressure, he felt pressure. So this is a game where he's got to learn from this. He's got to regroup. He got sacked 6 times. 4 of the sacks were his fault. Right. It wasn't even the offensive line's fault. He took 2 sacks running out of bounds. Just throw the ball away. So those are sacks, by the way. So he took 2 sacks himself, and then another 2. He went the wrong way, and on one of them, Noah Whittington, he had pressure from the left side. Noah Whittington was out on a scat protection released. It was one of those where they blitz, and then the running back got dropped. All they do is just a nice toss over to him. He hits his head on the goalpost. There were plays available. That's the good part, is that there were plays available, but the execution and the confusion also led to this.
Right. 100%. All right, let's give our grades. I'm gonna go first here. Offense D, defensive grade C. The pick 6 was huge. I mean, that was a big play. Yeah. You got 7 points. That boosts everything up. Although, man, 2020, you can't give up the 75-yard drive like that.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Like that's a defensive moment where you got to step up, and they didn't.
Yep.
And that's and even against Penn State in the fourth quarter, you got a 2-touchdown lead. You gave up 2 touchdowns. You gave another touchdown in overtime. So late game situations, the defense has to be better than that. Special teams, I didn't see they missed a field goal, whatever. All right, what's your grades?
Special teams, I'm gonna give it a C. Like if that field goal had been consequential, it would have been an F. But it wasn't consequential, and the punt game was fine. So
It was consequential because they could have had the ball late with only down on a touchdown.
yeah, but they weren't going to go score anyway. It wasn't going to happen. It was not going to happen. That would have been luck.
Wow, such confidence.
No, it would have been. Oh well, luck is a bit of an overstatement. It would have been one of those moments. You know what I mean? Like it was either wasn't going to happen, or it would have been one of them all-time special. Like, bro, do you remember that drive? One that like where everything was going wrong. I would give the offense a. I'm gonna give the players a B minus. I'm going to give the coaching a D minus.
Okay.
And this is because so I had my and normally, I'm not very critical of the coaches in general, right? But it's super hard to be critical of people when this is your first freaking loss in Big Ten play in you play. It took 13 Big Ten games for you to take a loss. So, it's hard to be, overly critical of coaching, right? And or even of the players too much. So I would say that but I noticed something weird on the third play of the game. The third play of the game. It was 3rd and 1. I'm standing on the field. I look up at the scoreboard. I see 22 in the game. I'm like, why is Jay Harris in the game on 3rd and 1? And mind you, this is no disparagement to the kid at all. He was really good at D2, and he's not a bad running back at all. So I don't want to if his family's listening or anybody's listening, the kid is not a bad running back. Like, he's a good player. But I couldn't understand why a guy who is actually further down on your depth chart is in on a 3rd and 1 play on the third play of the game. I felt like Will and the crew, like they tried to get a little too tricky. Like, does that make sense, Aaron?
Too cute. Now, Did they run a play that maybe he excels at? I don't remember the play.
It was a direct snap to him.
Oh, okay.
I just don't understand. I just didn't understand why.
Does he run that well? Maybe they're just like, hey, this guy runs this play
better
well.
than Jordan Davidson or Noah Whittington or Lamar or
I haven't seen him in practice. Maybe he runs it well.
Listen. There's no one play I run this well. Like
what are you talking about? Did he do it? Did he do it in high school? Did he run Wildcat before? I know Lamar did a little bit in high school, but
then Lamar should have been in there. If that's because Jordan Davidson is the short yardage back anyway. Or put Noah in there, or put Lamar in there, like guys who've taken the lion's share of the carries. We're in a big game. Why is Jay Harris getting the carry on the third play of the game? Too cute. So that was the first thing. That's when I was like, this is weird. Like, I knew something was up at that point in time in the game. I'm telling you. And they didn't get the third down. I was like, But then when you look at the numbers, right? Jordan Davidson he got 8 carries. Averaged 7.4 yards a carry. Now, granted, the 26-yard carry slants it a bit, but still not like it's not like he had a 45-yard carry and then the other seven were for 17 yards. That's not right. So he was averaging 7 yards carry. Noah Whittington was 5 carries, only a long of 7, but 5.4 yards. Jaden Lamar 3 for 17, long of 7. 5.7 yards. So it's not like you were having these outlier runs that were disturbing the average. So then you look at it and you're like, why weren't we? And there were times in the game, like, why aren't we running the football more? This is where the advantage is, and then you just lean on them all game because they are thinner on the defensive line. And it was like we were trying to stay away from conflict. Sometimes you got to run into the conflict. And we ended up with 34 pass attempts when we really only probably needed about 26 in the game. Like, I would have liked to see more rushes, because technically we finished with 30 rushes, but Dante had 9. But those were essentially like pass plays that got turned into runs. So it was 34 pass attempts, but we really had about another like 40. It was really about 40 or so pass plays.
Pass plays called, yeah.
Yeah. So now your rushes are down to 21, and that number needed to be about 35.
So the running backs rushed for 101 yards on 20 carries, but they only had 17 net in the second half. It was to your point.
Yeah, and
they went away from it.
Correct. And on third, and Oregon actually did really good on third. Well, against a good team, they were the
3 for
final
14,
stats are 5 for 14. No. I'm talking about the defense.
Oh, the defense, yeah.
Yeah, so they were 5 for 14, but I don't even count that last one where they took a knee. So you're 5 for 13 on third down against a good football team. That's not bad at all. And
right. So
you're not gonna like fault them at all for that. I didn't like the 75-yard drive, but they did what they whenever they got in third and long, they got off the field. And they got them in third and long a decent amount of times. I think it is hard, like where offense and defense, like people don't necessarily understand the correlation all the time, but between the two is that if your offense is not giving you any juice, and like they were moving the ball, but then as soon as they get down toward the 20, you're like, what the hell's going on? It was like a brick wall got put up. And then the amount of penalties. This was not a typical Oregon game. They don't have penalties like they had. How many total penalties?
It's only 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, they had 7 penalties for 64 yards. This is a team that was averaging like 3 or 4 penalties a game. So, I thought that there was a lot of stuff that could have been cleaned up. I think Indiana is a very efficient football team, and that's why Kurt Cignetti was still humble after the game, because he knows what's on a film, and I think that this is one of those moments where Oregon is either going to go one of two ways from this game. You're either going to like oversell this win. I mean, this loss like Penn State did. They put all their hopes and dreams of the whole season on the Oregon game. And then when it didn't happen, it broke them. It literally broke them. They go to UCLA, they lay a dud. They go to Penn State, the Northwestern, they quit there. It just was not. It was just a bad situation that got just worse, all because of one single solitary game. And that's not the era of college football that we're in right now.
Gotcha. All right, hidden gems. Mine's gonna be Jordan Davison. He looked pretty good, but I'm picking him also because I want to make a bigger point here. Not one of these backs has emerged as a lead back, as a go-to guy. And I do think over time that can hurt you. I don't believe that they have 4 potential lead backs. I don't think that's a thing with this team. This is not back when you had, Barner, DeAnthony, and LaMichael, or later when you had Barner, DeAnthony, and Byron Marshall, or later when you had Tyner and Royce Freeman, and you could move Marshall to receiver because you had to, or even we had Bucky and Noah. Like, they just don't have that number one guy. And so the fact that they've, like, the leading rusher has been a different guy, I think, in 4 of the 6 games. So Jordan and Dier Hill, freshman, one of those guys could be the guy, or they could be the next, Barner and LaMichael next year or what have you. But right now, they don't have a guy they can lean on that they trust for an entire game to be that 15 to 20 carry guy. who's going to evolve with the blocking as it goes, evolve with their schemes as it goes, and then be more effective late in the game. They just don't have that, and I think
See,
that's hurting them in a way.
I would push back on that, Aaron. I
Okay,
believe
go
they
ahead.
do. I believe that
You
they
think
do.
they do?
I think that they have it. I think that they have not done it. I mean,
Okay.
just look at they haven't even tried to get anybody that many carries.
Because they don't have that guy.
No, that's not
Right.
that's not it, Aaron. And
Okay,
now
go
I
ahead.
do understand not wanting to put that tall task on a freshman early because there's a lot to learn. You know what I mean? So, and I know that De'Aaron Hill is dynamic. He's got to learn the playbook better, and that's limiting some of his playing time.
Right. That's part of the problem. That's part of what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
So, but you can, if you notice, like they didn't run the ball enough in this game, period. And then they're doing this weird rotation with them. And if they had run the ball 35 times, I think that you would have seen Jordan Davison with probably about 17 of them, which is appropriate, especially for a true freshman. You're getting them in, and then you have Noah with about 9 and Lamar with 2 or 3. And that's really about it. Like, I don't think that we're in an era where you're going to have too many times where you're going to have a back. Like, I believe it's like back abuse when you're giving a guy 25 carries a game now.
It doesn't have to be 25.
No, I'm
It
just
doesn't have to
saying.
be 25.
Just so I do believe that guy is on the roster because they believe that Jordan Davidson especially and De'Aaron Hill, that those are like special backs, not even good backs, special backs. They're trying to bring them along. But in the meantime, we got to stop like so much of this. So I do believe that they have the person on the roster. I believe that you have to make a decision like that this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
I think it's
I'm not saying that Davison, or like I said, Davison Deere could end up being a LaMichael Barner combination. I mean, we don't know yet. So what I'm saying is that they don't have the guy capable of being that guy right now. So right now, their leading rusher through 6 games is 267 yards. The next is 249, 211. So right now, they don't have a guy on pace for more than 600 yards. Never in Oregon's history, when they've been good, have they not had someone over 1,000 or close to it as that guy? And then another dude who was right behind it.
I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying that it's not a personnel issue. I think that it's not a personnel.
Of course it is.
No,
the freshmen are not ready. They might have the talent, but they're not ready. So therefore, that's the personnel issue. They don't have a guy who's ready to be that guy.
Even if you did it with Noah, Noah would get 1,000 yards. If you gave him 20 carries a game, he would get 1,000 yards easy. So it's not that. It's that you got 3 different guys. How many guys have 200 yards on the season?
3.
And then so that's 700 yards already. Plus, how many does and then who's next after that?
So Hill has 267, Lamar 249, Noah 211. He missed a couple of games, and Jordan 150.
Yeah. So it's a case of early in the season. Obviously, you were not knocking people's doors off, so you were playing everybody. But it's got to get. I think you're going to see a tightening up of the running back room some in terms of the spreading out of carries.
Out of those 4, so who's going to fall off?
I believe that
there's not one guy on this team they trust to be on the field most of the game. That's obvious.
Well, Aaron too,
and that's okay.
No. I'm saying is that you also said that Noah Whittington missed multiple games. Had he not missed multiple games, he would probably be about 450 yards or so now.
No, he's not rushing for 250 in the games he missed. No, he's not.
Okay.
He's not going to get the carries. He's played 4 games. He's missed 2. He's not rushing for
One of them he played
400 yards.
part of a game. So we're talking about two and a half games. So we are agreeing, but just for different reasons.
Okay. They don't have a back on the level of Morris or oh my God, Ontario Smith and Morris. They don't have a back like Stewart. They don't have a back like Whitehead right now. They don't have a back like Jeremiah Johnson. They don't have a back like LaMichael, Kenyon, DeAnthony, Byron Marshall, Freeman. I don't even think they have a Tyner right now. Tyner could have been special. They don't have a Jordan James. They don't have a Bucky Irvin. Period. There's no debating that. If they did, that guy would be the number one back.
No, that's not it.
Now, could De'Air Hale and Davidson someday become that? Maybe. But guess what? LaMichael redshirted. So LaMichael wasn't that guy as a true freshman either. So Kenyon Barner had to play behind LaMichael. So this is not a knock on the future. I'm just saying right now they don't have that back, and I think it's a problem. They also don't. Here's another thing. No, go ahead and give me your hidden gem first, and I'll get to the other problems.
I got no hidden gem.
Come on, you gotta have something.
No, there was not there wasn't a lot. I mean, Finney's not hidden. The kid was excellent in the game. Like, he wasn't even good. He was excellent in this football game. So he would be, I guess, the hidden gem if you want to, but there's nothing hidden about him. So that's why I said that I didn't have a hidden gem, because there was nothing hidden about anybody that played well.
Gotcha. All right. So the other point I want to make about through 6 games, because I said I always like to see where teams are at first 4, then usually first 3 until conference plays, but this time I was kind of reversed with the conference games, starting with Northwestern. And then the Penn State game, we were all impressed with that. We were all impressed with Dante, of course. Now this game, step backwards. So here's my thing in terms of their future this season. Now you say they're going to learn from this and that they got out coached, they can fix this. It's a great thing that happened to them. I still see several problems. One, you're still replacing a ton of people on defense. We knew that coming in. The defense, I don't think is going to be special this year. Dante has one really good game against a good opponent in his career, and he just reverted back to not having a great game. Was it all his fault? No, but still, he has one game under his belt in his career against a good team where he performed well. So moving forward, am I going to buy he's going to come up with 6 or 7 or 8? I don't. I think next year he comes back, he could be special, but I'm not seeing it this year. The running game, you don't have a lead back. I think that's the issue. I don't think you have a true number 1 receiver. I think that's an issue. I think you got some good receivers. I don't think you have a number 1 guy. DeCorian might be that guy next year, maybe in the future, which is why if Dante comes back with DeCorian and one of these backs emerges like Hill or Davison, you could be pretty potent with your big 3 in terms of the skill guys in those areas. So for me, moving forward, I question. I don't think they're going to go. I think another loss is coming. I don't think they're going 11-1. Okay, I think they're going to go 10-2. So another loss is coming, which is going to mean they're going to be on the bubble for the playoffs. I still think they might get in if they, as long as they lose to someone really good, like maybe if USC keeps rising or Washington keeps rising. But I think they're going to be in a dicey situation. But I think 11-1 is off the table. I think going back to the Big Ten title games off the table. I just don't think they have it this year. I don't think it's magically going to turn around, because right now, as far as I'm concerned, they're 1-1. The other 4 games are meaningless.
I see. I think that so the way you're looking at it is not like, I completely understand your vision for this. Okay, I understand why everything that you're saying it makes 100% sense, right? I disagree with you about the back thing, but that's a minor issue, right?
Right.
So what you're saying makes 100% sense. I think that we're looking at things like it through our old brain, and I'm not talking about you as an old man. I'm talking about our old college football brain. And this is where, Aaron, is that I, on my radio shows that I've done, on the college football show, this is why I always say I'm show prep for everybody else, because everybody else, like, there are times where I see things so clearly, and then things catch up weeks, months, years later, and they're like, oh damn. So this is old college football brain, the way you're seeing it.
No, it's not. But go ahead.
Because is that the goal of the season now win games, getting to the playoff. If Oregon drop, even if you are right, and they drop another game to USC or Washington, if USC beats Notre Dame this weekend, they're going to be now looked at as because Washington 100% should be ranked right now.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yes. And truthfully, Illinois should be ranked. Illinois' 2 losses are to the number 1 and number 3 team in the country.
Yeah,
and
they lost by 50, man. They lost by 50 to somebody. That's a bad look. That's a bad look.
No, I understand it's a bad look, but they gave Ohio State everything that they could handle. They, like, when you went back and watched that game, like the score does not indicate what happened. They shut Ohio State's offense down. They made 3. Here's a consecutive sequence where the game was lost in the first half because they shut them down. Aaron, they were driving down. They're around midfield. It's 3rd and 7, incomplete pass. So what? Low snap by the punter. Punter puts his knee on the ground to pick it up. So now Ohio State has a short field. They kick a field goal, go up 13-0. I don't even know if they got 1 first down, maybe, and then they kicked a long field goal. And then Ohio State kicks the ball back. First play of the game, guy just fumbles the football. Valentine fumbles the football. They go up 20-0 in the second quarter, and then they outplayed Ohio State from that point on. Like, they dominated them, actually. So I believe Illinois should be ranked, and also Washington should be ranked. It is inexplicable how Washington is not ranked to me. When you have 10 SEC teams ranked, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy again. So if you then lose to Washington or you lose to USC and they're ranked high, that's not going to hurt you. Because a 10-2 Oregon is still going to get into the playoffs, especially if you dominate all the rest of your games outside of that, because the brand is good. Your people generally are going to give like Oregon, because of last year and the previous years and the brand and all that stuff. Like, they're one of those teams that fall into like the benefit of the doubt thing. Like, right. Alabama falls into the benefit of the doubt. Georgia will. You see Texas beat an Oklahoma team that quarterback shouldn't even have been playing, and now all of a sudden Texas is ranked again. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if Texas wins next week against the nobody that they're playing, it's going, oh my God, see, look, Texas top 10 again. So I think that they fall into that benefit of the doubt because we're in the middle of the season part and stuff gets jumbled up. And this is why I say the old brain is because this loss in the grand scheme of things to Indiana is going to keep winning, doesn't really mean much. And you just have to continue winning games. And these freshmen that are playing and the young players, because you said that this is a young football team, everybody acknowledges that.
They're relatively young. It's a little skewed because the offensive line has a lot of seniors on it. And Poncho's probably going to leave. But there's some youth, but there's a lot of go ahead.
Yeah, and then you have so it's like it's either old or it's young. Like, there's not no, the sophomores, juniors. There ain't a whole lot of them on the field right now. So then you're sitting here looking at you like, oh wow! By the time the season ends, and you've played an entire 12 games, that's when you start to see that maturity of teams. And in previous years, Aaron, you would have been 100% right, where it's like, oh yeah, next year, bro, this team is going to be lights out. But because there's a playoff and an extended postseason, now you're really into your sophomore year at the end of the season because you played an entire season. So that's where I think that the old brain versus the young brain, because you just have to be playing excellent football as you get to the end of the season and not at this point in time right now.
Okay, I agree with that, the last part of that. But if you can say the freshmen are now sophomores come playoffs, and I can say the seniors on other teams and even on your team are now NFL players. So it's all relative. It all bumps up. What I'm saying is I don't believe this team, like, even you talk about in the vision and looking in the future. Last year I was saying all year what the defense was going to get had, even though they were 13-0. I'm like, the defense is going to get had. Boom, defense got had. In 2019, 2020, there's numerous times
But there
in
was
the old way of thinking. Let me
Aaron,
finish.
Aaron,
Let me finish. Let me finish.
also
Let me
too.
finish.
Hold
Dude,
on,
oh
hold
my
on.
god.
You're that statement
Let me
that
finish
you
my
made.
point.
Hold on. That statement that you made. I said the defense was going to get had. There was only one team in the nation that could had the defense, and that's who they ran
Penn
into.
State put up 500 yards on them. They
They
almost
beat
had
Penn
them.
State. What are you talking about? The
And
offense was dynamic and everything else. So the defense being had, the only way your
okay.
defense is had is when you lose.
Okay.
And so
No,
and
no. What I said, well, so you're interrupting me. What I was saying is that I don't think they're national title contenders because the defense is going to get had. There's no way they're going to get through a playoff and not have their defense get exposed. The defense almost got exposed against Penn State, but they pulled it out because Aller threw two horrible picks. In the playoffs, they got completely demoralized. So everything I said was going to happen happened. But so my point is what I'm saying right now is that this team, I never thought this team was as good as last year's team. I still don't. Quarterback's not as good. Running back's not as good. Receivers not as good. Losing Evan Stewart was horrible for this team. That's killing them, I think, in a lot of different ways.
Evan
Here's
Stewart will
another
be
thing.
back this
Why
season.
does Kenyon Sadiq have 17 catches? What is going on there? All I was told is that this guy's one of the greatest tight ends in the history of the program. Athletic beast, gonna be a first round pick. And they can only get the ball this guy 17 times. I think he had 3 catches the other day, and then he only had 1 in the first half. Or I know his first catch came in the third quarter. That's another story. Anyway, I hear what you're saying. There's still growth to be had. I just don't buy this team is going to contend. Now, could they squeeze into the playoffs? Yes, but they're not a threat. Next year, maybe. This year, no. That's all
I
I'm saying.
believe that we will know how big of a threat that this team is in the playoffs toward the end of the season, because they're gonna get Evan Stewart back first of all. In November. That now mind you, I'm saying this, I was not told this. This is my belief by everything that all the writing is on the wall. Evan Stewart is doing requisite things. He's posting on TikTok. He's getting workouts in. He just reposted Evan Stewart back in November. Like there are signs, and there's whispers about it and stuff like that. So I think that they're going to get him back. And this is why, Aaron, I am not like, I didn't come in, and the reason why I wasn't even upset after the game, like, of course it sucks to lose, but I didn't come into the season with national championship type hopes. But now I'm looking at this team and I'm saying, ooh, this is a team that can, if they grow the right ways and the coaching, and you make good, because Will Stein has struggled versus teams that play certain types of zones. They struggle versus, like, they kill, absolutely destroy man teams. Same thing happened versus Ohio State when they went the same types of zones that Indiana did, and with the pressures and all of that stuff. So this is something that they have to figure out. This is the kryptonite to the Stein offense right now. It is.
And Dante said that they did some things that other teams are going to look at and try and do, and they got to figure out how to combat that. But let me go back to this. You've been trying to get me to say that the Ducks were in a national title window.
I believe they are.
You've been pressuring me to say that. You were all over me after the Penn State game, you and Newman on Talking Ducks, and now you're like, I didn't come into the season with national championship aspirations. Then pay me my $100.
Hold on.
Then pay me my $100.
Aaron, I did not. No, I didn't say we won't win a national championship. I said I believed when I came into the season. And think about this: is that you're flying too close to the sun, Aaron? You are flying way too close to the sun because you're watching Oregon so much. When I flew back on the plane, I was watching games. And then I watched the games all day yesterday. So I'm caught up on pretty much every single team, every single contending team in the country. Ohio State, when you watch them and you look at their schedule and you look at stuff, there are ways that they can be beat. Miami, they are vulnerable as well. In Indiana, I just saw them in person. They can be beat by the team that they just beat on Saturday. Old Miss just got pushed to the limit by Washington State at home. Texas A&M, they commit a lot of penalties, and the quarterback cannot throw the football at a high level. They're vulnerable. I'm unsure about Texas Tech because because of their opponents. So far, it's hard to really judge them, but their defense is really good. Georgia's clearly vulnerable because they've lost already. LSU's vulnerable. Their offense looks terrible. They are considering benching Garrett Nussmeier. Tennessee can't play defense. Georgia Tech don't have enough offense. Notre Dame's already lost twice. Oklahoma just lost. And so, like, all of these teams in this era of college football, all of these teams have warts. This isn't 2022 when Georgia won the national championship when they smoke showed everybody. This is a different era, and this is why I love it, is that all of these teams have warts right now, and this is where it should be.
It's more NFL-esque. I agree. I just don't believe Oregon has a shot. Anyway,
Okay.
All right. Let's move along to, we just pretty much covered where they stand nationally. So let's move along to a quick sneak peek to Rutgers. They're 3-3, lost by 10 to Iowa, hung around with UW in the first half. Well, yeah, kind of, and then got rolled there. After traveling 3,000 miles, we got to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say instant threat level for me, I'm going to say 2.5. I'm only going 2.5, higher than I probably normally would have, just because they are traveling 3 time zones in the negative direction. When teams travel from the east to the west, that's not nearly as bad as going west to east in my book. Rutgers, they're not complete pushovers. They're semi-tough. They're going to be at home. Ducks have to make sure they adjust to the things Indiana was doing, because I'm sure Rutgers is going to try and copy some of it. So I have a 2.5 threat level. I'm going to go 33-20 Ducks.
All right. 33-20?
Yep.
Oh, God. So I watched Rutgers play, right? Rutgers
You're like,
had
oh, God.
Dude, their quarterback is
He threw for 300.
Aaron. He also was awful at times as well. If the Ducks don't, this game is more like
1,800
playing.
yards.
This game is more like playing against Northwestern. Is that, like, yes, you can be beat if you just but I believe that this game is the good type. This is the perfect type of game to test this team. And I agree with your threat level of 2.5 because of the time travel. And also, Oregon just lost. We saw what happened to Penn State. They fell apart. They're nowhere near as bad as what they've put on the film the last two weeks. Can we agree with that, Aaron?
Oh yeah, they still have a lot of talent from a team that went to the Final Four last year.
Yeah,
I agree.
So, like, they're like what you like that team broke and quit after the Oregon loss. Now we're gonna see what this team is really made of, because if they go out and they start fast versus Rutgers, you know that this team is built out of the right constitution for the rest of this season and then heading into next year. If you go out and they're struggling and they win this game by a touchdown, I would change this to like a 3-loss team, Aaron.
Okay.
If they go out and they win this game by 7 points, because that would mean you don't have the right, like the dog ain't in this team like it needs to be. I got to be honest, Aaron.
Okay, fair.
So that would constitute that, because Rutgers wide receivers are not special. Like where the Surratt kid for Indiana is really good. He's an NFL player. They have no NFL players at wide receiver. We should be able to line up man to man those dudes. And the best thing that Rutgers does is run the football, and they're going to run the quarterback too. So what happened against Indiana is going to get tested. This is the perfect type of test. You are essentially playing Indiana light. Rutgers run defense is really good though. Really good. They bottled up Jonah Coleman in Washington, and that's a really good run offense. So you're going to be tested in the run game, but your defense can bail you out. But let's not forget that Oregon has only scored 3 touchdowns in the last 8 quarters. I'm sorry, they've only scored in 3 quarters in the last 8 games. Now, I don't raise as huge of a red flag against that because you were playing against really good teams. And then one of them, you missed like 2 of the quarters, you missed field goals in. So it's really like 5 out of 8, which is not concerning. You see what I'm saying? Where like that,
but they do only have 3 offensive touchdowns in their last 8 quarters, and one of the touchdowns came on a broken coverage against Indiana. So the offense has scored 2 touchdowns without help in 8 quarters.
Yeah, that is, and when you're playing against really good competition and players, you may go through some droughts like that. But also, like I said, and like Dante said too, the plan has to be better because there is a book on how to stop Will Stein's offense right now. It happened in the Rose Bowl. It happened like Penn State did a lot of the things too. And then Indiana took that and was like, oh, here's what we're going to do. So they did things that they hadn't ordinarily done because they actually have athletes who can do it. This Indiana team, Aaron, is very well coached. And this is why Penn State is now trying to steal Indiana's coach. They are very well coached. And this is why I believe that Cignetti and Dan Lanning have so much respect for each other. Because they recognize each of their coaching acumen. That like you're not going against somebody who you're going to be able to, just out scheme on the board. Like you got to out scheme that particular day. Like some days they're going to be able to out scheme you, and you hope that your athletes are better. And Oregon got out schemed, and Indiana's athletes played better. End of the story.
Yes, they did. All right. Whew, we went a little long today, but it was worth it. We had a lot to cover. All right, today's episode of the Ducks Confidential Podcast was brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene, Cascades, and Coast region. Ducks fans can find out more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. All right, George, we'll be back later in the week to preview this Rutgers game more in-depthly. I think the Ducks are going to win it, but it could be that. This might be like Wisconsin last year, right? No. Rutgers is better than Wisconsin or not as good as Wisconsin?
I think that the circumstances were different. I think that Oregon team was tired. They had played like 9 weeks in a row. And I think that the circumstances dictated the Wisconsin game, and the circumstances could dictate this game, but I have a sneaky suspicion that Dan don't have these guys ready and
fired up, hungry. All right.
Yep.
We'll talk more about that later in the week. Thanks for watching.